Tonight on News 5 Live, free high school rollout to begin in parts of Belize City. The opposition says not enough money in budget to fight crime. And fuel prices pose challenges for NGOs and emergency services. These stories and more coming up on News 5 Live.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
It's almost lunchtime and Alice is getting hungry and forgot to bring cash. She remembers that eCash now has a geolocation feature in which she can easily view the eCash merchants near her, especially restaurants. Her co-workers also ask her to order food for them.
Chicken chow mein, please, and a Coke.
The merchant sends her the payment link. She taps confirm, and within a few minutes, her food is delivered. Alice then views her transaction history and taps on the transaction recently made. Then taps the split the bill button where she selects the unevenly option and moves the bar to the desired amount per person. The request is then sent to her friends. Her colleagues accept the request and are ready to enjoy their meals. Geolocation and splitting the bill via eCash make Alice's life a whole lot easier.
Staying connected with your loved ones while traveling is even more important during this global pandemic. With Digi, this is even easier and more convenient with our data roaming plans. Postpaid customers have instant access to mobile data when in 41 destinations worldwide. With 3 affordable plans, starting at only $28, it's easy to instantly connect via your favorite digital platform. To purchase your data roaming plan, contact Digi before your travel date. If you are already abroad, you can contact us via email at digihelp@livedigi.com or via WhatsApp at 608-8888. For more information, visit our website at livedigi.com/digicel or visit a Digi store near you. You can roam, stay safe, and stay connected with Digi.
This newscast is brought to you by the Belize Bank Limited. Our country, your bank. Good evening and welcome to News 5 Live for Thursday, March 24th. I am Sabrina Daly. The 2022 to 2023 budget debate kicked off this morning with Moses Shine Barrows, the leader of the opposition, 40-minute presentation. And while he highlighted several line items, including education and national security, there was criticism that it was less about the budget and more a campaign speech for his party's leadership convention on Sunday. Prior to today's meeting, Barrow did ask for more time to prepare for today's debate, but that was not granted. Here is the area representative for Mesopotamia on the $20 million allocated to capitalization of the central bank, something he says could have been put to better use.
This is a 1.3 budget of wastage and misprioritization. You have to look no further than the move to capitalize the central bank with an additional 20 million. When I spoke of it, the member from Freetown got up and eloquently tried to correct me. But I stand by my position. This is another example of misprioritization, Madam Speaker. With the additional 20 million, creating a solution to a problem that doesn't exist. The problem we have is inflation. The problem we have is a housing problem. The problem we have is a poverty problem. Those are the problems that we have. The central bank has had the capital it has had for the last 40 years. It has not been a problem. You could have taken that $20 million, Madam Speaker, and invested it into education, the student loan scheme that is failing the Belizean people, the housing. The minister, not just the minister, Plan Belize promised 10,000 houses. Now I appreciate the 5 houses where you give to mess up, along with the other 31 constituencies. But when I like talk about lie, me omitting opposition leader of the House of Representatives is not a lie. You saying that you would give 10,000 houses in this term is a rank lie, Madam Speaker. And that is what this budget represents, a betrayal of the Belizean people, Madam Speaker.
Barrow went on to chastise the government for what he says is the failure to address citizen security, crime and violence. Barrow noted that more money is being invested in the office of the Prime Minister, while the budget for the Ministry of Home Affairs has been cut. The leader of the opposition asserted that a UDP administration under his leadership would ensure that security officers are paid well.
We talk about crime in this country. The member from Caribbean Shores, I nearly feel like they set you up because they know you want to lead the party. I hear you on Care Prime Minister at the convention either this year or next year. I nearly think they set you up
the budget.
With that ministry to burden you and to make you look bad, because you have a task before you that I don't think you appreciated. And you're not getting the support that you need. They cut your budget from the Barrow administration, from the UDP administration. You're cut by $10 million. So where is this commitment to citizen security, Madam Speaker? Where is it reflected in the budget? But we see increases for the office of the Prime Minister by 10 million. Increases for the office of the Prime Minister by 24 million to have I don't know if that one village council slush fund, I don't know what it is, because it's not described, Madam Speaker. Under a UDP administration led by me, I will make sure that our security forces are well paid. For too long, we have mistreated our security forces. Then what do you expect? How do you expect that the crime scenes will be processed adequately, Madam Speaker? How do you expect that our security forces will not be susceptible to compromise when they are living paycheck to paycheck? So let us see what it is you promised, Madam Speaker. How can we have a criminal justice system that works when you refuse to increase the budget for the judiciary as you promised? That don't mean to make it up. That don't mean to rail up with you because this is the way I think. Next year, you will see that. I will present my own budget, and I will show the opposition will present its own budget, and we will show the Belizean people how we will spend their money. You said you would do it. But again, Madam Speaker, the Belizean people need to recognize that, as the member from Caribbean Shores said, the government of the Prime Minister is TACOS, lone talk.
On the other side of the House, Cordell Hyde, area representative for Lake Independence and Deputy Prime Minister, said that Central Bank's $20 million allocation is necessary. Hyde countered that the budget for furniture in the office of the Prime Minister is to cover a bill the Bersenio administration inherited. According to Hyde, while he was tempted to dismiss Barrow's entire presentation, he enjoyed listening to what he labeled a campaign stump speech.
You know, that's the beauty of being in opposition. You can say anything you want, any ways you want, even if you know better. The truth of the matter is that the member from Queen's Square, the leader of the opposition, should know better. Yes, sir. Soon. Mesopotamia should know better that the $20 million for the capitalization at Central Bank is absolutely necessary. And if he doesn't know better, he should ask the member from Alberts. I'm sure she knows better. He should also know that Sunday. He should also know that the budget in the office of the Prime Minister for furniture is not for furniture for the Prime Minister's office. It's actually for furniture to pay, it's actually to pay for a bill that this government inherited, to pay for a contract signed for furnishings for the Eleanor Hall fancy building on Lakey Boulevard. I mean, I've heard that building is worth, but cost 26 million. I hear very big difference. Words have meeting. 26 million, 28 million, 39 million, I don't know. But what I know is that's an overpriced building. What I know is a really fancy building in the middle of our community where they could have taken some of that money and shared with us. But the budget in the Prime Minister's office is actually to pay for a contract, to fulfill a contract we couldn't get out of. You know, Madam Speaker, I'm tempted to dismiss much of what the member from Mesop said, because it sounded quite a bit like a campaign speech for the leadership contest this Sunday. And I totally understand. If I were in your position, I'd do the same. And I'm a political animal, so I enjoy listening to stump speeches. Beautiful. But the truth of the matter is that this is serious business we're talking. And in talking serious business and dealing with the national budget, there has to be some truth telling. The truth of the matter is, Madam Speaker, that the former Prime Minister, and perhaps it was only the former Prime Minister and his inner circle, who knew what a bucket of slop he was leaving for us.
One bright spot today was the revelation that the Ministry of Education is rolling out its free education program in several Belize City high schools. The Deputy Prime Minister today announced that Maud Williams, Sadie Vernon, and Gwen Lizarraga are among the institutions that will benefit from the program's initial phase.
We will be providing free education at Maud Williams High and Sadie Vernon and Gwen Liz in this year's budget. And Excelsior, because we understand that the greatest antidote to crime and poverty is a sound education, not more money for the police, more money to make sure that every single child in this country gets to go to school and complete school. Under the UDP, those billions of dollars that were spent, 2,000 kids were dropping out of school yearly, you know, out of Standard 5 and out of Standard 6 and First Farm and Second Farm primarily. You know why? Because the kids and their parents couldn't pay the fees. So we were spending billions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars on road contracts, but we couldn't even find $1 million, only 1-point-something million dollars to ensure that these kids stay in school. And then we want to know why crime is through the roof. It will always be through the roof until we make sure that every single child, red or blue, stays in school, because the kid that stays in school is not going to get caught up with the gangs.
Minister of Education Francis Fonseca says GOB's investment in education has increased by $13 million in the 2022 to 2023 budget. The leader of the opposition had argued that the education budget was reduced, but Minister Fonseca rebutted, suggesting Barrow is not comfortable with figures and should take some beginner classes in economics.
It's really like a corpse performing its own internal self-examination. How in the world could you come to this National Assembly and cry and bemoan the challenges the country is facing when only a little over a year ago your party was in government for over a decade? So it's an admission of the absolute failure and neglect and incompetence of your own party that you have come here today to provide evidence and testimony for. You know, and in addition to that, Madam Speaker, the leader of the opposition, I think we've known this for some time, but I think he really established it very clearly today. He's not very comfortable with figures. He's not very comfortable with, obviously, with economic policy. The point I'm making, Honorable Member, for your benefit, is that you really should get at least a 101 class in. Yes. In just reading the budget book. It's very important. You're talking about the budget. It's important for you to understand what is stated in the budget book and what it means. Sir, and the budget, the capital budget for education was increased by 13 million. You don't understand, that's the very point I'm making. You're looking at recurrent expenditure, but you haven't even bothered to look at capital expenditure. There is recurrent expenditure, there's capital 2, there's capital 3 expenditure. If you look at the whole picture, you will see that we are adequately funding every sector of the economy.
And parents will be interested to know that all schools across the country will reopen for face-to-face learning 5 days a week after the summer break. The Minister of Education made the announcement today during his budget presentation. Here is what he had to say.
This budget continues to reflect our commitment to education as a national priority. It's been a very challenging year, but we are on the road to fully reopening all of our schools. It's very important, Madam Speaker, it's critically important to get our students back into the classroom. It's not only important for their academic development, but also for their social and psychological development, equally as important. So I am very, very happy that we have had a united front in moving forward to achieving this objective. It's been very challenging, but we are well on our way to achieving that objective. We're close to 90% of our schools back open for face-to-face instruction. And certainly, by the time the new school year rolls around in August, all of our schools at every level will be open 5 days a week for face-to-face instruction.
Coming up, to vie for the leadership of the UDP. News 5 takes a closer look at the challengers when we return.
March is Women's Month, and at Brothers Sabet, we're celebrating our Belizean women and their achievements all month long. Women are too often overlooked in typically male-dominated fields, but we want to celebrate the capable ladies who are breaking the bias across the board. From the women at home tackling their own home improvements to our women builders behind new and exciting projects. We want to recognize your power and thank you for all your contributions to Belize. And as a small token of our appreciation, for the entire month of March, we're offering all women 15% off on all items in store so you can keep breaking glass ceilings with high quality products from Brothers Sabet. It's a great month to be a woman and a great time to come into Brothers Sabet and check us out for all your hardware needs. Happy Women's Month, Belize! and let's continue to break the bias.
Clean and maintain your yard the best way with Honda trimmers and lawn mowers. Honda Lawn and Garden Equipment. Available at Benquip. Equipment, parts, service.
I'm a Belizean traveler. Are you?
Who offers the best home internet experience? The truth is, Digi, of course. Diginet has the largest fiber network and the fastest speeds with the most reliable service. That's more learning, more earning, more gaming, more bonding, more sharing, getting more things done. And now, Diginet is even more affordable with the new entry plan, a 20 megabits per second fiber connection for just $49 monthly, and increased speeds in all plans. The truth is, only Digi has the ultimate home internet experience, with savings up to $270 when you bundle. Wireless and cable can't give you that. So what are you waiting for? Sign up or make the switch to Diginet today to enjoy more speeds to get more done. Digi, or National Telecom.
With RF&G Insurance, you can request a quote, renew a policy, purchase a policy, and even file a claim effortlessly with WhatsApp. Here's how. WhatsApp the words "Get Started" to 670-8700. We will prompt you to select the service that you are interested in. Select the service and answer a few simple questions. An RF&G representative will process your request and follow up with you when your transaction is completed. It's that easy. Skip lines and WhatsApp us. Remember, it pays to get it right with RF&G Insurance, a road group company.
The month of March is Women's History Month, and this is what the dynamic team at the Uno gas stations had to say.
Personally, I believe it's a month to highlight our strength and resilience.
A month that highlights the accomplishment of all the women around the world.
It means something very special to me because of all my hard work and dedication, and I feel very highlighted.
It's a month to honor all the hardworking and dedicated women around the world.
My mom.
My mom, of course.
My mother.
Happy Women's Month!
Happy Women's Month.
Happy Women's Month.
Happy Women's Month.
The budget debate got heated when Henry Charles Usher, representative for Fort George, rose to speak. At the start of his presentation, Usher criticized the leader of the opposition for distancing himself from the Dean Barrow administration. Usher accused the leader of the opposition of benefiting from the alleged misdeeds of the government under the Barrow administration. He then went on to tell the leader of the opposition that he should make an attempt to find former Minister of Works Rena Montero on his next international trip. This caused quite a stir, which caused the Speaker of the House to briefly suspend the meeting. Here is what happened.
The member from Mesopotamia has tried to distance himself from what was happening under the former UDP administration, his father's administration. He has consistently said that he was not around when these things were happening. And perhaps there was a time in there when he was having an identity crisis, traveling to the Middle East, adopting a new name, a new look. But other than that brief self-journey, he was right there sucking from the spigot of power and turning a blind eye to the pain and suffering caused by the misdeeds, corruption, and national robbery of the former UDP administration. That is why, Mr. Speaker, like the biblical name that he has adopted, he will never see the promised land.
On a point of order,
What's the
Mr.
point of
Speaker,
order?
the member from Fort George needs to stick to the budget, to the revenue, to the estimates, to his ministry. Trying to eviscerate me with personal attacks is not a part of the debate, Mr. Speaker. I have listened to him painfully, giving him much leeway, but he just wants to talk about me. I know he's obsessed with me because unlike him, I am a self-made person. I never made a suck-pan identity like you.
Okay, opposition leader. Member, please stick to the
Thank you,
budget
Mr.
debate
Speaker.
and
You know,
please abstain from personal attacks.
Mr. Speaker, he runs in here because he get whopped. If it's too hot, get out of the kitchen, my brother. If it's too hot, get out of the
Stop
kitchen.
worrying about me. Worry about the people in Fort George and the people of Belize that your government was elected to serve.
Mr. Speaker.
Please proceed and stick to the budget debate, please.
Mr. Speaker, if he wants to do something beneficial on one of his other trips, then he needs to go and find and bring back Rene Montero so that Rene Montero can face the music. If you're serious about it, then you need to do that.
Need to bring your father to face justice for stealing $20 million.
Madam Speaker.
Member, Prime Minister, member for Fort George, member for Mesopotamia.
I demand that he pulls back what he said, Madam Speaker.
Members.
The former Prime Minister was arrested and accused in a court of law for stealing
On
$20 million.
trump-up charges that your father did. Trump-up charges that your father did.
And that is why we need to refrain from personal attack.
Members. Leader of opposition. Leader of opposition.
We don't have problem with that, you know. But when you lie, that's the problem.
Mr. Leader of opposition. Ms. Bearer, I am calling you to attention. Members.
After reviewing the House recording, the Speaker of the House determined that much of what was said was unparliamentary and requested that both the Leader of the Opposition and Minister Mai retract the statements they made. They both rose and did just that. Their issue of Belize becoming a republic also surfaced in the House. The People's Constitutional Commission, a newly established body under the Constitutional and Political Reform Ministry, will be conducting consultations across the country on the continuing decolonization process. Today, Minister Usher announced that a good governance unit has been established and will operate as the secretariat to the Commission.
Speaker, a major part of the portfolio is reform. I am pleased to report to this Honorable House and to the Belizean people that a good governance unit has been established in the ministry. This unit will be the focal point for all governance issues, including UNCAP, which is currently in the second round of peer review. The GGU, the Good Governance Unit, will also be the Secretariat for the People's Constitutional Commission, which will take and look and have a comprehensive look at the laws of Belize, including the Constitution, as well as the way we are governed. Madam Speaker, the decolonization process is enveloping the Caribbean region. Perhaps it is time for Belize to take that next step in truly owning our independence. But it is a matter that the people of Belize must decide on.
All eyes will be on the UDP this weekend as the better of two candidates will be chosen to marshal the party in a new direction following Sunday's leadership convention. The meeting of delegates will take place in Belize City on March 27th. several weeks after former party leader Patrick Faber demitted office amid another domestic violence scandal. While it was expected that a few more aspirants would have submitted their names to challenge the vacancy, Tracy Tager-Panton and Shine Barrow are the only two candidates contesting the seat. Ahead of the big day, News 5's Isani Cayetano looks at both candidates and what they bring to the table should either of them be elected. Here's that story.
The United Democratic Party is set to choose a new leader. On Sunday, delegates from all 31 constituencies will participate in a vote to select a successor for Patrick Faber, whose tenure as head of the once powerful political organization ended in controversy. The leadership convention will see two candidates vying for the highest office. The outcome for either aspirant will be a first for the party. On one hand, a victory for Tracy Tager-Panton symbolizes a seismic shift in the direction of the UDP, having elected its first female leader. On the other hand, success for Shine Barrow solidifies an express assent to the upper echelon of the party.
I have the majority of support in the House of Representatives on the opposition benches. I have the majority of support within the 31 constituencies, as we've seen with the massive endorsement from the Caucus for Change. And we had 53% of the delegates that voted to recall in July of 2021. And as you can remember, I led that charge.
His political opponent is the quintessential underdog. To hear Tracy Panton tell it, the odds have been stacked against her from the very beginning. Having lost her husband just a few weeks ago, the Albert Era representative has decided to carry on in his honor.
I am absolutely ready to take on the leadership of the United Democratic Party. I think it's important, not just for the party, but for Belize. We need to have a stable, robust opposition so that we can hold the present government administration to account, and we can also prevent a viable alternative for Belizeans in terms of good governance in this country. When I decided to offer myself as a candidate for the leadership position when the vacancy became available, I did so very thoughtfully, very prayerfully, and with the full support and backing of my family. And so there is no reason, I think, for me to back down at this stage.
Shine has been busy on the international front, promoting Belizean music on the world stage. Most recently, he was bestowed an honorary doctorate of humane letters from the University of Liberia. Since being sworn in for a second time as the leader of the opposition, he has also been making his rounds, meeting with delegates across the country.
I have visited with them just as recently as the holidays and before that, and I've stayed in touch with them. And so they believe that we needed new leadership then, and they believe that now, and anyone that will come and to present themselves as that alternative, that opportunity has already passed.
Overcoming the hurdles that have been placed in her path would see Panton becoming the first woman party leader of the UDP. Despite her ambition, she's admittedly treading uncharted waters.
I think it's unprecedented, quite frankly, and I think it would speak volumes about us as a society and us as a party in terms of really championing women in leadership, really looking at women in greater leadership roles, having a very clear seat at the decision-making table. But let's be fair here. While that would be a tremendous achievement for Belize, I have put my name in the hat because I believe that what I bring to the table is what this country needs at this time.
Reporting for News 5, I am Isani Cayetano.
After the break, interventions continue to mitigate gang violence and get young people off the streets and back in school. But first, here is a look at the latest COVID-19 figures.
My name is Janine and I live in Belize City. I've been a social worker for 2 years now. Social work is actually a difficult job. It takes a lot from you, not physically, but mentally. I went for an interview once for a job in dealing with youths at risk. And while in the interview, I was asked the question if I'm sure I wanted the job because it was dealing with troubled youth. And the interviewer looked at me and said, well, we would prefer a male for the job. I was hurt at first because I thought I was as qualified as the male to get the job. And it really stuck with me because then I thought, if I am as qualified, why wasn't I chosen? Why would you want to eliminate 50% of the workforce? People are supposed to be hired based on merit and not gender.
Hello, welcome to Samsung's awesome experience right here in Belize. Come check it out. Not sure which Samsung Galaxy A series is right for you? Touch, play, and learn about your device before you buy. Once you've purchased your device, you can now benefit from the full Samsung service experience. Your phone is covered by a 1-year local warranty. This includes manufacturer defects and software and hardware issues caused by the manufacturer. Enjoy your phone with peace of mind knowing that your Galaxy is protected. And when your warranty expires, you can still bring it to our certified Samsung Repair Center. Our technicians will diagnose and repair your device with Samsung original parts and machinery. Enjoy the Samsung experience when you shop at any of our authorized partners countrywide, including Cellular World, Digi, Odette's Home Center, Debari, Tropigas, and Quartz. Join the Samsung experience in Belize today.
You want a mobile service provider that allows you to stay connected with fast, reliable LTE coverage anytime, anywhere. Whether it's just to catch up with family, to share that experience with your one special friend, or to manage your small business. Whatever's your thing, you deserve to have the best mobile experience. Now you can do even more while on the go with the increased anytime data allowance in Digi's mobile postpaid plans. You now enjoy 8 gigs of anytime data starting at only $55 monthly. Or share up to 120 gigs of anytime data with up to 6 of your closest friends. That's more LTE data for you to enjoy during the day, nights, and weekends. No restrictions. So keep your gigs up with more data plus unlimited talk and text in all Digi postpaid plans. Visit a Digi store near you to sign up today. All you need is a valid ID and proof of address. It's time to get on Belize's fastest mobile 4G LTE advanced network. Visit livedigi.com to find out more or hit us up on WhatsApp or Facebook. Digi, our national telecom.
Hear the best way to stem violence is through education. Well, over the last 2 weeks, 224 highly motivated youth have been engaged in literacy, financial literacy, life skills, and mathematics classes for an opportunity to become more productive citizens. It's a first step leading into an apprenticeship program. The Leadership Education Liaison Officer for the Ministry of Home Affairs and the Department of Youth Services is Dr. Lorna McKay.
You know that education is key, and many of these at-risk youth gang members have dropped out of school at one point in time, whether it was their fault, whether it was from the system, whether it was because of whatever things that had affected them at the time. And we know that for you to reintegrate people back into society, although we might look at it and say that they give a lot of trouble and stuff, these are good people. They can be reintegrated, but there are programs that we have put in place that help them, and this is one such program where we train them in financial literacy, basic math, literacy, and life skills, things that will help them as we reintegrate them back into society to work in an apprenticeship program and stuff like that, to make them be able to help themselves to better cope with what they're going through. We have behavior modification under Mr. William Dawson. We have community police officers who work closely with them, and we have certain stipulations, yes, because they are in another program already where they're doing the cleanup and all the rest that they get a stipend for. And this is an extension of that program, right? So we spoke with them, we orientated them, I did, and they are in it. They want to do it.
But how receptive are the participants? Vernadelle Bailey is one of several lecturers who have been tasked to work with these young men. She says despite some obstacles, they want to learn.
We teach financial literacy. Of course, that will assist them in how to handle money, to make budgets, how to invest. We teach literacy skills, reading, writing, understanding. We teach life skills, which we need every day to cope with everyday life. Tough, difficult, easy, we need to have the skills. And we also teach math. If you can't count it, no mind here, make it, you have a problem with it.
How have they been receiving this information? Have they been receptive? Are they grasping the material?
Right now, I can say that we have very good response, excellent response. We have like 5 or 6 groups of students that I teach. 6 groups of students. And of these students, I have never encountered a kickback or a negative. I find students that are willing, that students that want to learn, students that ask questions, students that let us know, miss, what you are doing, what we are doing is something good, and we will work with this program because this is something that we want. Today we had a little child, like a 4-year-old. If we want you to be a part of this, if we want you to work with us, then we need to work with you. So if you have a problem leaving your baby at home, bring your baby. He or she is not a bother to us. We will work with you because we want to work with you.
On Wednesday, we brought you the story of a meet and greet session in Belize City with the top brass of the Eastern Division and church leaders about their respective roles in intervention of criminal activities across the city. Simultaneously in Dangriga, the police command there was joined by Mayor Robert Mariano, a former deputy commissioner of police, as they went door to door meeting with residents. The aim was to hear concerns and seek solutions.
We need to know what is happening in the different areas of Dangriga. Of course, this is the first of its kind. However, it is not the last. This will continue until we reach every area within Dangriga town. We selected New Site 3 because we have opened some new roads in that area. Because before, the people that live in that area used to traverse to the Stantric Valley Road via Picado. We were asking people what is their take on the new roads that was put in their area and of the crime situation in that area. And I'm pleased to say that the people that live in that area have mentioned that they're satisfied with the police performance in that area, and they're not concerned of anything which is criminal in that area. This shows that the neighborhood watch group that is in that area is very active and are doing their work.
Just ahead, the price of fuel driving up costs for emergency services. But first, here's a weather update with data from the Belize Met Service.
Applying for a Social Security sickness benefit? Here's what you need to know. A complete claims package include 1. Sickness claim form fully completed by the claimant and medical doctor. 2. Salaries record form completed by the employer or HR representative. 3. Proof of bank account such as bank book, online banking, or statement displaying your name and account number. To submit via email, you need to take a clear photo or scan of the documents and email to claims@socialsecurity.org.bz. Be sure to include your full name, social security number, and benefit type in the subject line of the email. Or you can drop off all completed forms into the Dropbox slot at the nearest branch office. Deadline to submit is 14 days from your first day of illness. All forms are available on the website at www.socialsecurity.org.bz. Social Security Board, safeguarding you, your family, your future.
The contamination of water we all depend on is a very urgent issue. As Belize's popularity and industries grow, challenges increase. In this episode, we will examine the issue of water pollution in Belize. Water pollution is the contamination of water bodies, usually because of human activities. Water bodies include lagoons, rivers, aquifers, and oceans. On the marine side, the discharge of sewage and bilge water from cruise ships and other live-aboard vessels, in combination with unregulated development of coastal areas, has led to the degradation of marine ecosystems such as mangroves and coral reefs. Our inland waters are facing their own challenges. As agricultural development increases, pesticides, fertilizers, and waste products are running off into rivers. Increased river traffic from boat tours and sugar barges adds to the already stressful conditions of the freshwater ecosystems. In addition, companies that collect sewage sometimes dump the waste right into the waterways. Additionally, in densely populated areas like Belize City and Orange Walk, poor sewage designs result in the contamination of groundwater and of water bodies by both sewage and wash water. In many cases, homes and businesses dump their wastewater directly into drains, which leads to rivers and the sea. Wastewater, detergents, and petroleum collect in drains that empty into waterways, such as the New River and the Belize River. This, along with the runoff and discharges from the agricultural and industrial businesses, have been inadequately monitored and enforced. The answers to overcoming water pollution issues are fourfold: improved infrastructure, adequate treatment, increased legislation and monitoring, and of course, changing our habits for the better. While it is urgent that better management on a policy level is needed, there are a few things we can do at home to help. Ensure proper treatment systems are installed for all wastewater at your home and business. Don't dispose of oil from your automobiles or cooking and household detergents down the drain. And lastly, minimize the usage of chemicals and fertilizers and report any dumping into waterways to the Department of the Environment. The government has recognized the threat of inadequate liquid waste management and is working toward goals of reducing and reversing its effects. For more information on what's being done about water pollution and ways you can help, visit our website at doe.gov.bz I'm Alison Castillo, and now you know.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
The price of regular gasoline went up by another significant margin at midnight at the pumps, part of the global inflation that surrounds the war in Ukraine. Regular gasoline shot up by 60 cents per gallon, taking the price up to $13.50. The government announced that it also intervened to cut back on its taxes by 29 cents off every gallon, so as to not have consumers suffer the full brunt of what the actual cost would have been. The recent hikes have had a rippling effect on the cost of most goods and services. But while merchants and businesses can pass the costs on to their consumers, there are some services for which the costs simply cannot be passed on, such as the people whose job is to transport the sick, or those whose job is to conduct patrol. News 5's Marin Ali takes a look at how the increases have affected those two types of services.
We're having difficulties meeting many of our expenses, which is taking a toll on even our ability to keep up with supplying our ambulances with medical supplies. So the cost of fuel has impacted us.
The continuous escalation of fuel prices has hit some services hard, and the ambulatory responsibilities that the Belize Emergency Response Team has been meeting for the residents of Belize City have been made all the more difficult by yet another price hike overnight. At this point, Executive Director of BERT, Andre Carrillo, says that in order to keep their doors open and their services accessible, they are looking for some type of reprieve, either from the government or from the international community of donors.
The silver lining for most NGOs, nonprofits that rely on government subventions, is that the government has mentioned July 1st as the time frame for the restoration of budget for public officers, and we hope that that's a timeline that the government will also provide a restoration for everyone. We've took a reduction in subventions way before the teachers and public officers got a pay cut. They got a pay cut of 10% in June 2021. We were cut in September 2020.
So have you written to the government to ask?
Yes, we do have a pending meeting with the new Minister of Health to basically discuss this, along with other partnerships that we're going to embark on with them, and we'll be announcing that to the public soon. So what we're doing to help offset the cost for now is to write for grants. And as you know, grants are normally one-time grants. They're one-off, and so it's very difficult to find grants. But we're seeking grants to basically help us.
Where the assistance cannot cover the full fuel bill for BERT, Carrillo says they ask for a nominal fee. But even when patients cannot afford to pay, the service is not denied to them. Before BERT reaches a point where their budget can no longer allow effectively answering calls for help, Carrillo says they would be forced to hand over the responsibility of the service to the government, as they had done in the past.
And reflecting on where we were in 2016, not being able to carry on with the services anymore and then handing that over to the government is a reality we're also faced with today. And that's why we're fighting arduously to be able to apply for grants.
One of the services that would have already collapsed because of fuel prices is BERT's air ambulance, but the government rescued that problem in time.
So aviation fuel costs around $20 per gallon. And so we burn an estimated 20 gallons per hour. For instance, a PG flight is around an hour to get to PG for a patient. So it's around 2 hours to fly to Punta Gorda to rescue a patient to bring them to KHMH. The aviation program was not cut because the implications would have meant that patients from as far as PG would not have been able to be rescued. And so in 2020, birth subvention was cut across the board by 27%. And we had to renegotiate with the government, advising them at the time, and this is the administration from 2020, the past administration, advising them that that amount was unsustainable, that we would not have been able to carry on, which would have brought the aviation program to a complete halt. The government would then have to resort to charter private flights, which can easily cost the government of Belize 5,000 Belize to fly one patient from San Pedro to Belize.
Another area of service whose fuel budgets have been impacted is the NGO community, whose scope of work encompasses patrolling both land and sea to deter illegal activities. Carrillo also wears the hat of chair of the Belize Network of NGOs Steering Committee.
NGOs collectively in the marine protected areas, inclusive of BERT, that provides humanitarian emergency medical services. We consume a total of around 45,000 gallons of fuel annually. Much like BERT, the marine protected areas NGOs have also, they're not able to meet their budget. They've passed their budget. And so it's becoming increasingly difficult to continue to patrol the 850,000 acres that they're basically in charge of. And when that happens, basically illegal fishing then increases. Aside from that, there are other illegal activities, illicit activities that happen at the high seas. So there's a real risk for Belize when the patrols need to reduce. And so unfortunately, due to the constraints, it's going to affect patrols.
The NGO community has recommended that the government finds targeted ways to assist the ones that are marginalized, perhaps through grants to make up for the fuel increases. Government response should be made known in the coming weeks. Reporting for News 5, I'm Marion Ali.
In Cabinet news this week, Cabinet gave its approval for a motion to be taken to the National Assembly for $6.2 million for financing from the International Monetary Fund. Channeled through the International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, Cabinet says the aim of the loan is to minimize the global risk and impact caused by the COVID-19 pandemic and to strengthen the ability of the healthcare system to respond to future health emergencies. Noting high levels of excess liquidity of around $770 million, Cabinet has decided to incentivize lending by the banks into foreign exchange earning sectors to further stimulate economic activity. Cabinet approved further amendments to the Cannabis and Industrial Hemp Licensing and Control Act. These changes provide for the composition of the Commission additional taxes on sales of cannabis and fund for the allocation of tax revenues for public awareness campaign programs, rehab programs, social and sporting programs, and social and school assistance. Finally, Cabinet was updated on the status of vaccinations. Currently, there are more than 245,000 vaccines on hand. As of the 21st of March, almost 50% of Belizeans have had one dose, and another 48% have been fully vaccinated. The daily COVID-19 positivity rate is 1.35%. Ambassador Oliver Del Cid has been appointed Director of National Security and head of the National Security Directorate, formerly the National Security Council Secretariat. The Prime Minister's office made the announcement today. Ambassador Del Cid has served as a Foreign Service Officer in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as diplomat at the Embassy of Belize in Guatemala, Deputy National Security Coordinator, Belize's Ambassador to Mexico, non-resident High Commissioner to Jamaica, non-resident Ambassador to Haiti. Most recently, he served as Inspector General in the Ministry of National Defense and Border Security. The Prime Minister's office says the placement of the National Security Directorate under the PM's office for the first time in more than 20 years underscores the attention that the Office of the Prime Minister intends to give to national security matters as, quote, the country faces existing and emerging security challenges by taking an all-of-government approach through interagency coordination, unquote. A new loan product to support small, medium, and large citrus farmers has been launched by the Development Finance Corporation. The Citrus Revitalization Loans aim to provide financial support to farmers who are in need. The purpose is to double citrus production over a 5-year period from 1.5 million to 3 million boxes in the short term and from 1.5 million to 5 million boxes in 10 years. According to a release from DFC, financing starts as low as 5.5%, and farmers will be able to access working capital loans to rehabilitate economically feasible existing citrus groves, as well as access capital investment loans for the replanting of old citrus groves affected by citrus greening. Farmers are also being encouraged to diversify their crops into high-potential tropical fruits, including pineapples, soursops, and coconuts. Up next, do you know how people get tuberculosis? Do you know how it's cured? We have some answers for you on World TB Day. Stay with us.
Do people actually hear from God? Are there really angels and demons? Okay, now that's just unbelievable. In our next series, we're going beyond the Google search and facing the tough questions. It's time to take on the skeptic and eliminate the doubt. From inconceivable to unimaginable, we're talking about the Bible's most unbelievable truths. Every second of this series will be worth your while. Believe it or not.
What is the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine? The Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine is an RNA vaccine that triggers our immune system to develop antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 virus that causes COVID-19. It helps to reduce hospitalization, severity of the disease, and death. What is the Pfizer vaccine made of, and is it safe? The Pfizer vaccine is made up of mRNA messenger ribonucleic acid, which are molecules that carry the genetic information needed to make proteins, lipids, salts, and sugar. It is safe for persons 12 years and older and does not contain the COVID-19 virus, hence cannot cause infection. Tests have shown that the vaccine is effective against current virus variants. Who should take the Pfizer vaccine? The Pfizer vaccine should be taken by persons 12 years of age and older who do not have severe allergic reaction after a previous dose of vaccine or have not had severe allergic reaction to any ingredient of this vaccine. 2 doses of the vaccine are required 3 weeks apart. If you are between the ages of 12 and 17 years, you are required to present a signed consent form before you are vaccinated. What are the side effects of the Pfizer vaccine? Some common side effects of the Pfizer vaccine are headache, fatigue, muscle pain, fever, chills, and swelling at the injection site. If side effects persist, contact your doctor as soon as possible. Does the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine prevent infection and transmission? No. Vaccination alone does not prevent infection and transmission. We are still required to continue to wear masks properly, physically distance, wash and sanitize hands often, practice proper coughing and sneezing hygiene, and avoid crowds.
Download the SmartStream app on the Android Play Store and create your account to get access to movies and stream at home or on the go. Prepaid customers can purchase regular data packages or get a discounted rate on a special SmartStream package by dialing 7737. Postpaid customers will be billed monthly. Never miss a movie again with SmartStream.
Messi. Off goal! What a goal from Leo Messi! What an incredible strike from Leo Messi! Neymar and Messi is standing over this. Messi. Off goal! What a goal from Leo
Great
Messi.
entertainment stays with you, and we bring you great entertainment. Next Gen, the ultimate digital experience.
The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge are continuing on their Caribbean tour despite protests in Jamaica. However, on Wednesday night, Prince William addressed the issue of the transatlantic slave trade, largely echoing the statement that his father, Prince Charles, made in Barbados in November when the island became a republic. Prince William was speaking at a dinner at King's House hosted by Jamaica's Governor General Patrick Allen. The prince said that he agrees with his father that slavery was, quote, abhorrent and it should never have happened, unquote. He also expressed his profound sorrow and noted that while the pain of slavery runs deep, Jamaica continues to forge its future with determination, courage, and fortitude. The remarks came the day after protesters in Kingston demanded that Great Britain apologize for the enslavement of Africans and pay reparations to their descendants. Jamaica's Prime Minister Andrew Holness said earlier this week that the royal couple are direct beneficiaries of the royal family's wealth accumulation due to the profits from slavery over the centuries. The visit to Jamaica has also raised the issue of republicanism, with PM Holness saying Jamaica intends to follow Barbados in removing the Queen as their titular ruler. Jamaica gained its independence in 1962, but had been a colony of Great Britain since 1655. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge arrived in Bahamas today. It is their last stop of their three-country tour, marking the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. Today, Belize observed World Tuberculosis Day. In an effort to create public awareness of the disease, several fairs were set up across municipalities to bring information to the people about the fight against TB and the effort so far to bring an end to the disease. News 5's Dwayne Moody reports.
Growing up, you may have heard your grandmother say, "No, knock the baby in the back because you're give her TB." While that being the cause of the disease is a myth, tuberculosis still continues to affect Belize. Globally, 10 million persons fell ill with TB in 2020, with 1.5 million people dying from the disease. In Belize, there were 73 new cases detected in 2021 in persons between the ages of 15 and 54. 4 persons died in Belize District. Belize, Cayo, and Stan Creek were the districts most affected.
Tuberculosis is a disease that is caused by a bacteria, Mycobacterium tuberculosis. It is transmitted through the air from a person that is positive, and you get it through inhalation. And what a lot of people don't know that whenever they inhale the TB germ, it can be in the body and it can be dormant for the rest of their life and they wouldn't know. But it can also turn into the TB disease, and people are not aware of that. People think that TB is only of the lungs, but we can have TB from almost any part of the body, right? You can have it in your bones, you can have it in any one of your organs, your heart, your kidney. You can have it even on your skin, in your genitals, anywhere, in your eye, in your mouth. People like to think because you have TB, you have HIV, or because you have HIV, you have TB. It's not like they do work hand in hand, but the thing is, if you have HIV, you have more chances of contracting. Right. And so what we do is screen everybody that has HIV, and we make sure that how they get prophylaxis so that if they had the bacteria in their body, that it does not develop.
Primary and secondary students came out in Belize City, and in Belmopan, American Northwest University held its special event welcoming school children to find out more about the disease. Medical students even conducted free tests.
We have our first year medical students who put together amazing presentation on
what is tuberculosis, bringing awareness about tuberculosis, and most importantly, what do they plan to do? What do the future of Belize looks like as it relates to tuberculosis? What we're offering is free TB testing for adults only and blood pressure testing by our amazing third-year students.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness has a national TB program to reduce the number of cases through early detection and diagnosis. So what are some of the symptoms?
The first one you would hear people talk about is a coughing, right? They would cough, a productive cough, and it would sometimes have blood in it. You would have fever, especially in the evening, night sweat, chills, loss of weight, and of course if they lose weight is usually because they have a loss of appetite, because of the sickness. So those are the main things, and then whereby it's the extrapulmonary, where it's not the one in the lungs, they would usually have also pain in the area where they would have the TB.
Children are generally inoculated with a vaccine to prevent TB, but for those who have contracted the disease, whether that may be the latent or active case, it is curable. Effective drug supply and management at all treatment levels are available.
We have treatment, and the treatment is free, right? The treatment and all the tests that are done at the chest clinic, because in the whole country, we have an area that the Ministry of Health has that we attend to the people with tuberculosis. In all the districts and the towns, the villages, the maternal and child health section or the family health section takes care of that. The treatment is usually for 6 months, right? It's a very intensive treatment, and they have to take the treatment every day. The only thing with it, it might seem like a lengthy time, but the thing about it helps because they get cured, right? With that treatment, they would have to come to the clinic every day to get the treatment.
The theme for this year's World Tuberculosis Day is Invest to End TB, Save Lives. Dwayne Moody for News 5.
And that's the news. Tonight's broadcast is available in both text and streaming video at channel5belize.com. You can also connect with us on our Facebook page at facebook.com/News5Live. I'm Sabrina Daly. Thanks for joining us, and from all of us here at News 5, please remember to wash your hands, keep your social distance, and stay safe. Good night.